Hey, gang. Sorry about that. Sorry about running late too. My guest will be a little bit late. So I am going to take this time to basically say thank you all very much for your support and your uh, words of encouragement after my video when it came to my ordeal with the shirts and whatnot. Um, I didn't mean to get so emotional. I wasn't looking for pity or anything like that, but you guys, you showed me. I got some awesome group members, and just Squatch family, however you want to say it. I'm not gonna say fans because I don't consider it like that. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much for your support. As far as t-shirts go, they're kind of on an indefinite hold. Something I'm still looking at it, trying to figure out the right way to do it, and the right means. And right now, yes, most definitely one thing that will push them forward as far as getting if something I hope everybody's staying warm to begin with, because I'm not. I am not a cold weather girl by any means at all. And I know Texas is having a really, really hard time getting hit. If something does arise, because they're without power, prayers to our good friend Big Dog. He was actually supposed to be my special guest co-host tonight. He hadn't been on a little minute, and I miss my brother. So, I'd love to get him back on here, but he's without power, along with a lot of people in Texas. And they've got water issues as well. So my prayers are going out to anybody and everybody across the nation that is getting impacted by this, ungodly winter storm. I mean, I know it could be worse, but Alabama does not see this kind of weather for like years between years. That's why this girl right here has been staying indoors and cuddled up. I haven't been, getting out and squatching at all. I'd have to, be dressed up like Randy from A Christmas Story and look like a tick about to burst and not be able to move my arms. Yes. Pat, if you want to join me, let me know. I'll go ahead and send you a link just in case if you want to jump in here. I will be interviewing B Moss. And I know you've got some good questions you can throw in there. We're actually stepping out of the norm. I know, I've said when it comes to this show, we're going to go and roll as far as, anything goes. Cryptids, urban legends, paranormal, supernatural, you name it, we'll go there and talk about it. So my guest tonight, she is someone that has claims and reports of Dogmen experiences and encounters. And we've got some, there you are, Pat. Sorry, I had to go down my list there. And that's if you want to, buddy. No pressure. It's just seeing if you wanted to join. Speaking of the lady I'm going to be interviewing tonight, I am fully aware of a little feud that is going on in the Dogman world between a couple of groups. I am asking everybody, please keep it peaceful. This isn't TMZ. We're not out here to, not the Jerry Springer type kind of show. I don't want rude comments, name calling. I just want to hear about her experiences. I don't take sides on any of that stuff. It's none of my business. That's to be hashed out between yourselves. Sorry, I got a flick on my screen. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring her name's Bettina Moss. And there she is. I'm bringing her in. She's Bettina Moss, and she goes by B Moss. Why am I giving myself the spotlight? There we go. Sorry, girl. But she has a group that's called Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss here on Facebook. And she's an Alabama girl like me. She does not live too terribly far from me. So, with the information and stuff that she's talked to me about, yeah, I may have to, hook something up and be like, girl, take me out there. Let me see what's going on.
You do. Did you see that video earlier I sent you?
Yeah, yes, I did. First off, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm
my
doing
goodness.
good.
It's snowing out there so bad. It's already like 2 inches of snow out there right now.
Are you serious? I haven't looked outside. The last time I looked, I got wolves, and I know they're built for cold weather, but when mama's cold, the babies are cold, they come inside. And as soon as I saw it started raining, I was like, oh crap, I'm running late. So I had to run out and go grab them.
It's already like 2 or 3 inches out there right now, just since I
You're freezing up there, girl. Okay. Till we get her back, like I was saying, we'll keep it peaceful. I want to hear what she has to say. Okay, you're back with us. You got a little, you froze there for a minute. But we'll roll with it. Put it this way, I'm fully expecting anything to happen, especially, put it this way. I'm like super hyped right now. I'm sorry. I got energy. I just newfound energy here a little bit ago. But yeah, my thermostat quit telling what temperature it was outside, and it even said, this brand new unit, and it's been the thermostat's one of those kind of smart thermostat, I guess you'd call it. And it was putting messages across it like, the auxiliary's been running for longer than expected. And I guess this thing is basically saying, what the hell did y'all put me into? So go ahead and tell us. Do what? Yeah, I see you good. Okay. Yeah, you're coming through good. I mean, if you do glitch or whatever, trust me, I can ramble until we get you a good, clear perspective going on in there.
I didn't know if it was too dark, if I needed to go to another room, because I'm not usually in my room like when I do the lives. Did you want me to go out and go to a brighter
if you
room?
can get closer to your modem and stuff like that, that'll probably boost your get you going there, but boost your signal some. Let me refresh this page so I can see comments over here. I'm watching y'all tonight. Everybody behave. And I need to make sure I got it muted.
Yeah, I hope it's gonna be peaceful. I hope so.
There we go. Muted. All right. So we'll give her a second to get rolling, get in a better spot where hopefully she won't glitch as much, and we can get a good interview going here. I'll wait till she comes back on to really get in depth as far as how things are with me, because of my beliefs in dogmen. So which is it's different, but hey, to each their own, and we even have different beliefs with Bigfoot between each other. Some people believe this, some people believe that. So this is in no way, I will never bring somebody on the show to make fun of them or mock their beliefs. I'm curious. We have done the shows. I'm doing good, Michael. Thank you. If y'all can probably hear some congestion. I've been taking so much because when the weather flips back and forth like this, it wreaks havoc on my sinuses and allergies and whatnot. So
okay, I'm on my way.
That's cool.
Okay. All right, better lighting.
All right, good deal. Okay, if you don't mind, just start off telling us a little bit about what you do and what got you into this.
Well, what I got into it, Originally, I was just like any other person. I was kind of more into listening to Dogman encounters on like, different cryptid shows like Dogman Encounters with Vic Condiff, Brenton Sawin, a lot of different cryptid shows that I used to be like just a member of, just like everybody else who would tune in and listen. And I had been listening to those shows for years. And so for me, it was never a big deal. It was never a thing of whether I believed that they existed or not, because I always believed that they existed when I listened to the encounters. But I just never thought that I would have my own encounter. So basically, my encounter was what got me started into doing this, actually. Like, after I had my own encounter, that's what made me start taking pictures and videos and researching it, and then like talking to eyewitnesses and stuff like that, and then co-hosting on another show that I used to co-host with. So it just kind of got me more interested in the topic because it made me more aware of my surroundings and made me more aware that they're more prevalent and more out there than we ever really think about. They're out there all the time. I think the night when I actually had my encounter, I believe that thing, that particular dog man, it was so casual in the way that it appeared to me that it was almost like, and I guess I need to go into the encounter, but just to answer your question, it's seeing it, even though you already believe it, seeing it for yourself takes it to a whole nother level. And I think like a lot of people say after they see it, then that makes them almost get obsessed with it to the point where you just want to learn more and more and more. So that was my situation.
Yeah, that's how it is with me. That's exactly what happened with me. I went from being on the fence, with an open mind that they could exist, and just, since we didn't get a chance to actually like, chit chat a little bit before we came on air, I will let you know, and I don't know if you watched the show any, but I kind of do, a conversational interview. I don't sit there and pound you with a bunch of questions and then make you talk to the point where you got to wet your whistle and because I think it's, it may not be formal, may not seem professional, but you know what, this is that's how I roll. but
it's more practical though too, because it gives you an opportunity too to not just. That's one of the things I don't like about when I do live streams, like, because I feel like I'm sitting there just quiet the whole time, like, and I'm like, kind of just kind of waiting, and it's I guess it's more awkward when you're just doing it by yourself, or you're just sitting there the whole time looking at the screen. So I can dig that. That's how I feel about that too. That's why I want to co-host.
Hey, yeah, that's cool. That's straight up. That's cool. So yeah, look, I mean, that's like I said, that's the exact. I went from being on the fence of, I had the open mind. There's a possibility that, and I'm Bigfoot.
Yeah,
and I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't really. I mean, I'm open minded, same way I was with Bigfoot, but I have yet to gotten into a belief of dogmen. I have theories, with Native American background, if they're skinwalkers or, what as the joke goes around, we could have kangaroos on steroids running loose, that's what, I think that was, one that you posted, but, how did that first encounter happen? I mean, was it just you out walking and you said it was very casual, which is unusual from what I've heard, because they've always been, they've got a reputation of just being straight up hostile and dangerous.
Well, I used to go visit my parents every single weekend. You're from you're in Coleman, right? Yeah. I'm in Huntsville, but my parents
glitching a little bit.
Minutes, 40, 45. How about now?
I can hear you, but you're frozen. Yeah. How close are you to your modem and stuff?
I'm real close to it. It just keeps going out. I don't know if it's because of the weather, power lines outside, but it's getting pretty bad out there.
Yeah, but, I know.
I was basically the area where my parents lived at. I grew up in that house, and they lived there for like over 30 years. So anyway, I would go visit them every weekend, and when I would go visit them on the weekends, like there was, as you pull into the neighborhood, like you're coming in from like a main highway, and you pull into the neighborhood, and as you're pulling straight in, you come into like it's like a dead end of the street, but that dead end also leads into the woods like straight ahead. And I always parked on the street under this oak tree that they had in the yard. My parents' driveway is kind of at an incline, and they already had all their vehicles already parked over there. So I never had any space to park up there. I had to park on the road. So I just pulled up next to the curb, next to their house, like always. I would spend weekends with them because at the time my husband, it was hunting season. He always wanted to go hunting. And so since he was gone, I'm like, well, he's going to be gone all weekend. I just may as well go visit my parents for the weekend while he's doing that. So I get there and I pull up to the curb like every other time. And when I pull up, I hadn't got out of the car. The headlights are still on. It's still like shining right straight ahead into the woods. And I'm like just still looking ahead, getting ready to cut the car off, but I'm still looking straight ahead. And then in my I didn't have the high beams on yet, but in the headlights, I was looking and I was like, I just was like, I know that's not what I think it is. And so, you know how you kind of try to make yourself think, well, my mind is playing tricks on me. There's no way. I listen to this stuff all the time. I'm just making myself think that.
Yeah.
So I said, let me put these high beams on. And when I put the high beams on it was a confirmation. It was a black Dogman. It was standing on 2 feet. It was probably, and I always say, like, I'm not good at gauging distance, but if I were to have gotten out of the car, it probably would have only taken about 60 to 70 steps to be face to face with it.
Wow.
It turned around. It was jet black. It was very muscular, I guess, like an upper body, like in torso. It had a man, it had like the hog type legs. It had, it didn't have like the German Shepherd type head. It had more of a broad, muscular head. I guess more like a Rottweiler or Pit Bull type head. It did. I can't remember anything about the ears because what caught me about it, like when I put the headlights on it, the high beams, when I first captured the Dogman in my headlights, its back was turned to me, like it was getting ready to head down the path straight ahead into the woods. And I think I caught it off guard because most people who pull into the neighborhood, they'll come in, but then they'll turn down down the street, I guess, to go on down to the other houses in the neighborhood. My parents just live on that dead end. So I think that the Dogman really wasn't worried because it was so black, and most people aren't coming down to that end. So it's just out in the open. It's not thinking about that. So I caught it off guard, I believe. So when I put the high beams on it, it turned, it looked at me like, it didn't just like a dog would or any other animal would just like look back at the car. It looked straight through the windshield, like straight into my eyes. And it stared at me for like 8 to 10 seconds. And I just remember sitting there with my mouth open, like, am I really seeing this right now? But I was so awestruck at that moment. I hadn't gotten terrified or scared just yet because I couldn't believe what I was taking in. But most people talk about them having these amber eyes, and that's not what I saw. The one I saw had like these luminescent, like really beautiful blue, like ocean blue eyes, or turquoise blue is not the right word, but just luminescent, glowing from within.
Yeah.
And it looked at me for like 8 to 10 seconds. And as it just stood there, it was looking at me and I was looking at it. And I didn't get a sense of evil. And I'm not saying it wasn't. I don't know either way. But it just looked at me like it was casual. It kind of looked at me 8 to 10 seconds. I looked at it. And then it casually turned back around and continued on down the path that it was going. It was kind of like almost like it was looking at me like, oh, it's just you. Almost like it knew me.
Wow.
It's almost like it knew. Now, I grew up in that house, though, as a kid.
Is this like a pretty rural area that your parents live in?
It's the city limits. So it's not even really rural. And I know it's probably like it's more than 20 houses out there. Wow. And then it's off of a main roadway. So it's not like even like where I seen that Dogman, it wasn't like a heavily wooded area. Like I've gone back there before, like throughout the year several times. Now there's a creek back there. and there used to be tree houses back there. But if I think about a dogman and their habitat, like I know that they're in areas where there's a lot of trees, and there are a lot of trees, but it's not the deep woods. Like it's basically like you just basically walk down the trail and you're right there.
Would you say that, like, I mean, have you seen deer in that area or anything, like any kind of animals that it would be attracted to as far as, like a feeding area?
Yes. Throughout the years, like, I might be in the backyard every now and then, and I have my little dog out there and let her run around and play in their backyard. And it'd be just times, or maybe I'm outside smoking a cigarette or something like that. And it's been a few times I looked out in that cotton field, and there's been a couple of deer just standing back there. So there are deer back there. There's deer. I've seen foxes back there, possums, skunks. So it's all kind of wildlife back there. The interesting thing about it was that after I had that encounter, that wasn't the only time that I had a dogman sighting. That was the first time up close.
Okay. But this one, I mean, when you saw him this first time, you saw the complete body, no obstruction, no bushes,
complete body.
Okay. And when you said like
at all
hog legs,
it was standing in front of the tree. I'm sorry,
like,
what?
When you say like the legs, when you said hog, isn't that what you said? Sorry, it was when it was glitching. Okay, so like you talking about the backwards bend or straight on? I mean,
the backwards,
because that's
the backwards. Okay. Yes, the backwards bend, like if you take your dog and stand your dog up on its hind legs like that, just like a dog's legs. Okay. It was just like that. And if I had to guess, I'm going to say it was probably anywhere from 8 to 9 feet tall. It was much tall.
Like,
I mean, I'm only
8 to 9 feet. That's a big one because usually you hear them. I mean, the majority of the reports I've heard or whatnot, they average roughly about 7. So that sounds like a big boy.
This one. Well, I sent you some pictures actually, and on one of those pictures, there's one. If you look at it, I don't know if you'll be able to pull it up on the screen while we're on this, but
yeah, I can do screen share.
Yeah, there's one in particular. Once you see the size of the head on that one, then it'll kind of make sense to looking at the picture of the head on this one.
If you talking about the one where you zoomed in, like, and it was just like I think I know what picture you're talking about. Let me.
It's real black.
Yeah, give me 1 second, and we'll go. Come on. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at this screen, and this screen's behind, so it's like I'm still doing motions. Let's see. Come on now. Let's minimize that, and we will go to our pictures, and let's find my B Moss pictures. Okay. Yeah, this is the one I believe you're talking about.
It's up high in the tree.
No, that's not it. Well, yeah, I think it is. And you circled the head. I actually want to, I don't want to use that one. I want to use the one that you didn't circle him. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and use that one. Okay. Open that.
I just want everybody to get an idea head size of them. Because there's one that I call the German Shepherd head type, and then there's one there's one I have a couple of them that I have a picture of on there that have what I would say would be like a more broad type head. Now, after I had that first encounter, I just decided to start taking pictures after that. After that day, I said, okay, well, that's not just I didn't feel like it was a random event. I felt like that was something that was normal. I felt like they were always back there.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I could, see what you're talking about as far as ears, like right here, and
the ears are on top. Its head is bent down like that. You can see like the brow ridge, like going across here. You can see like its muzzle It's kind of wide. Now, if you, I'm pointing, but like looking at that, you see that tall grass, right?
Yeah, right here.
And there's tall bushes and trees like on either side of it. This is in the summertime when this picture was taken, so the trees and stuff are overgrown. Now, normally when it's fall and it's a straight path straight through there. It's like flat. It's like not a hill or anything like that. There's nothing in that pathway. I have pictures. I didn't send them to you, but I have pictures of that same pathway. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Now, on that particular day, I actually was sitting in my car far back at a distance. I don't know. I was just listening to music and sitting in the car smoking a cigarette, and I was looking.
This is the same area, like that you're talking about, where you had your first sighting.
Exactly. Except for the one wasn't standing back there like that one is. It was further ahead and in front of those bushes. So I'm kind of halfway. I don't even. Maybe I'm just kind of wondering, could that possibly have been it? I don't know, but that one, I actually seen it before I took the picture that day.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, this, because a lot of people will question, we go through this a lot with, blob squatch pictures, as people call it. And, pareidolia, yeah, my tongue's getting tied. Pareidolia, where, your mind starts to see things. But so you had a visual of your own, and then you raised the camera and took the picture.
Yes, I was in the car smoking and listening to music, and I was like, I know, because I don't know. That's just my phrase. I always say that. I know that's not what I think it is. And and so when I'm looking at it, I actually just kind of took my head and just looked down for a minute, and I like did the little code on my phone to unlock the phone. And when I did that, when I picked my phone camera up, getting ready to take a picture, I watched it as it leaned its head down like that. It didn't want me to capture its face. I watched it lean its head down like that. So that was.
I've had a Sasquatch do that to me before. Like at night, it had its eye shine, but I guess it didn't want me to really zero in on its location, so it put its head down to where its eye shine didn't come through. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about in that.
Exactly.
I'm going to go ahead and share the one that's expanded.
Yes. That way,
where it's the bigger setting of that area.
Okay. Because, like I said, I just started after I seen that. Now
Sorry, let me do that again.
So you're fine. And I actually put together like that. I sent you that one because I was trying to let people see the area like out wide also. The close up too. I wanted people to see. So that you see that big tree? You see the red circle there?
Yeah. There we go.
That's the tree that the Dogman that I seen on my first encounter that night. That's the one it was standing in front of.
Okay, with the arrow. Or wait, I'm sitting there pointing. I have a cursor right here.
Where the red circle. Where the red circle.
The red circle. Okay, and then that's the head. Okay, yeah, it's bigger over here, so I can see it on the. This is a bigger screen off to my left. So, but yeah, okay. So there's the head we were just looking at, and then this is that tree that you had your first encounter.
The tree where I had my first encounter was the one with that red circle on it.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Right. The Dogman was standing in front of that, but it was getting ready to go down that pathway further back there where that arrow is. It was heading from that tree, getting ready to go back into the woods further back.
So is this like a pathway, as you would say, that like people walk down, take walks on, or is it more like a game trail?
I don't even know what to say, a game trail, but I know that it gets overgrown in the summertime. Like that right there is not doing it justice. What I'm going to do, and I know it's too late now, but I'm going to have to send you pictures of that in the fall, and maybe you can just share it on the next live, or maybe I'll share it and post it in the group. But that is, it's just clear land when it's not overgrown like that. It's just, it's not even really a game trail.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'm going to take that down. And just in your, have you ever had any aggressive or, vicious encounters? Or has it just been like that, they look at you, you look at them, it's over and done with, kind of thing?
There's never been any aggressive or vicious encounters. I've been out there in the woods several times actually, and
Hmm.
well, after I had that encounter, I didn't go back there, but maybe one time, and I went, and it was me and my couple of my nephews and like a few other people, so it was about 4 or 5 of us. But I wanted
Hmm.
to move out of there after dark. But after that day, I stayed more close to the house and took pictures in the daytime. I always made sure that I would be out there for hours. So when I would be outside, I would take probably anywhere from 20 or 30 pictures at a time. Sometimes I would see them on camera, sometimes I wouldn't catch. Sometimes I wouldn't see them until after I went back and looked at the videos or pictures after the fact.
Yeah, I
But
got you.
um,
In any of this, after you've seen them and like, they've, sorry, I'm talking while I'm putting chapstick on. Damn, weather's got my lips dried out.
that's
Um,
okay.
you know, in any of these, have you by chance, once you know that they've walked off and they're gone, have you gone to that spot and tried it in any way to like try and find tracks and, just any kind of trail that they might have left?
No, because uh, um, well, the time that I went back there with my nephews, yes, because that was about the only time. My parents don't believe in it, or they think it's ridiculous, and I think they probably think I've kind of flew over the cuckoo's nest. So I don't even really talk to them about it. And there's nobody else that I would probably get to go back there with me, other than probably some researcher or something like that. So I've not ever felt comfortable enough to go back there alone to go check.
Totally
Because
understand.
well, because also the simple fact that they feel comfortable enough in broad daylight to just come that close up to me to look. So if they're that bold, then I don't. That's just behind their fence.
Yeah.
They're in backyard. So that's like if I went back there behind the fence. Like if they're gonna come that close to the fence, to me, I feel like they're comfortable enough to come in the fence, like while I'm in the
Yeah.
backyard. But they didn't. They didn't though. Because
Yeah.
there's one particular picture that I shared with you, Ashley, that I was in the fence that day.
Let's see. Let me go back to that one.
That one, it's a really huge black spot. I don't know if you know what you're looking at with that, but I can explain it for anybody that's looking. Hopefully,
Yeah, if I can get myself out of this, yeah, there we go. Okay.
but it's
All right.
it's not the one that we just looked at, but it's one that's up in the trees, like it's really dark.
Oh, okay, like that elongated one. Do you want me to, I know that you gave me a black and white one. There's one
Yes,
with a white post in it, and then there's one that's just I think it's a duplicate of the black and white, or am I wrong on that?
the one
Uh
you're right on the picture you're talking about. Do you see one though first that has H and F on there with a red bar around it?
da, da, da.
But it's of that same picture. It's just a full shot.
Let's see. Let me back
And if
out. There's a bench. Is that a bench? Oh, okay. Where I see I see the fence. Do you want me to share the regular one before you put any markings on it?
um no,
This
show the one
here. Okay.
marked first. That way I can kind of explain what's what because there's
Okay.
two different things going on in that picture.
Okay.
And that on this particular day I was in the backyard playing with my dog and I have a little Yorkie. She likes to play with the soccer ball when I'm out there playing. So I was letting her play. She's out there barking, having a good time. And then I just felt like something wasn't right. I got this feeling like I should look over into the trees. And when I did, that's when I seen this really blacker than black spot. It was darker than the shadows. And I seen it and it was like, okay, something's not right about that. So I already had my camera screen open. So this is what I'm talking about, and Ashley's going to show y'all the close up of this in just a second. But this is that white pole. That's the telephone pole behind their
Mm-hmm.
chain link fence.
Yeah,
Now
here's the fence right here.
there's a little red bar that I put there, and a lot of people are probably going to say they don't see what I'm talking about, but I have a little red bar that's kind of like that. That's the
Yeah,
head,
it's right here.
and then
H
F.
for head.
Yeah, and F for foot. That's a gray dog man standing up sideways in that tree, looking to the side, like at a side profile. It's dark gray. It has like a light gray snout,
Okay.
and it has a light gray snout, and then you can see like the black ears on top of its head. You can see its head area down to like the upper shoulder blade area. Then there's branches and leaves that go across like I guess like the arm area, and then
Mm-hmm.
right below that, that's where you can start seeing the hocks, the legs, like below, right below that green grass area, the
Yeah.
green leaves.
Is there an incline to this where he could have been on the ground, or you think he was actually up in the tree?
That one, both of them are up in the. That's one, just
Oh,
one of them.
okay. Yeah, I see an arrow now. Yeah, I was okay. Now there's the arrow right there pointing to.
Yeah, the arrow at the top is pointing to the black one. The red
Was
one,
this?
the gray one, you can see its whole body. It's standing up, and it's like charcoal gray, light gray snout, standing at a sideways profile. You can see it from the head, shoulder area, and then the leaves go across the waist, and then you can see the hocks and the legs and the feet down right below that. Now the black one, yeah, you just zoomed
Okay.
in on it.
Yeah, I'm zooming in. I'm gonna move it a little bit there. Okay, that way we've got those.
Okay,
Um,
so then so I just put the H there and the F there. So that's basically, if you think of your dog standing up on its hind legs, that's what that is. You're looking at like that gray one standing up at a
yeah.
side profile.
What would be your estimated height of that one? Um,
It's standing up in that. If you look at the tree,
I mean, could
from
you
the,
tell if it was like kind of, doing one of those balance things where it might have been squatted some, or if it was
I believe it
fully
was whole.
erect?
I couldn't see its arm because its arm is covered up by that leaf, those leaves that's going across it like that. So I'm assuming it's holding on to a branch, and
Okay.
maybe standing on a branch beneath it. It's hard to tell, but I don't think that one was really tall. Now I didn't see that one at all at the time when I was in the backyard. That black one up there is the one I've seen. Now
Okay. Okay.
the black one is one I've seen, and when I seen that, I was like, let me get out of this backyard. So I just basically sent you this one so you could see the full shot, see the backyard. And I know the color looks crazy, and it might be a filter on it, but it's just
So, I mean, you were initially attracted to this one right here is what you actually saw, and then going back, you saw this other one standing there.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Now, Ashley, if you'll show the close up of that, I can show y'all details of the black one's face that stand out. That's just for y'all to see like the layout of where I was. But this close up that I'm going to show you now is going to show real close the details that you can see of the black one's face. And it doesn't matter if you show it in black and white or in color. But I've noticed a lot of things about the Dogman through the years. I've seen them at different times where they have morphed into existence on camera. I've seen that. They are really good at camouflaging themselves. I mean, I've just seen them do so many things.
Elaborate on like what you mean by morphed.
So there's been a time where I've seen one not be there, and then it kind of, for lack of a better word, it kind of manifested like before my eyes, and that was really strange. Then there's been other times when I've actually seen only the head, but then I'm looking at it, and sometimes it's behind. I know this sounds weird, so I'm really halfway. Like a lot of the times, I don't even like to tell the paranormal aspect of it because it's kind of hard because you got like your flesh and blood belief, and then there's paranormal things they do too that make you question it. Or then I kind of halfway wonder sometimes, are there two types or three types or both?
Mm-hmm.
That's a different one than the one we were just talking about.
Uh,
But that's another Dogman
okay.
there.
Let me. Okay. I'm trying. I tried to save them, in or
sent
that you
something.
sent them to me. But okay, let's see. There is. Were you talking about that one? Uh, okay. I think there. I think I got it this time. I think I did. Forgive
Okay.
me. Forgive me.
So, yeah, actually, I've seen them morph like that, and I've talked to other
Is that what
research.
we're
I'm not a
talking about
researcher.
right there?
Yes, if you could
Okay.
zoom in on that, I wanted to explain some things about that black one. Now,
Okay.
you see how massive that head is.
Wait, let me get this Zoom going, and then we'll move. There we go.
Okay,
Is that
and I
good?
know, yes, that's great. Now what y'all looking at? If you're looking at me like right now, Ashley, like the eye on this side right here, you can see one eye.
Mhm.
The other eye is like covered up by the leaves that's on this side of its face. You can
Okay.
see its nose. You can see its nose. You can see its snout. And then right below that, it was snarling. So you can see its teeth. It was kind of snarling at me on this particular picture.
Okay. So you did have some sort of aggression in this
Oh, yeah.
experience. Okay.
That's the only time I caught one snarling. And I don't know. I don't think he like, in my mind, I'm like, why are you snarling at me? You came up. I'm out here playing with my dog in the fence, and you come up, you messing with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think I was talking to another lady, a lady friend of mine who's a researcher, and she was telling me, well, you didn't ask permission. He probably didn't want you taking a picture of him. So I've heard people say that a lot of the time, and if that's the case, then maybe that was the deal. He didn't want me taking a picture of him that day. They came up to watch me.
So they're like celebrities with paparazzi. It's like,
Right.
unless I'm doing something, I'm gonna punch you. you know,
Yes. I
don't
don't
go
think
all Alec Baldwin on them.
right. Well, he wasn't happy about it. And after that, when I seen that, that was real close. You see how like that chain link fence was. So basically, it
Mhm.
could have easily come down out of that tree and jumped over the fence at me. And you can
That's
clearly see that that is the only jet black thing in that picture. It's darker than everything else. And the tree branches, the trunk of the tree is gray. I've seen that. It wasn't there a few minutes prior to that.
mm-hmm.
It was
Um,
there looking. So I just said, let me see what's going on there. But I didn't see any facial features. I just knew it was something that just didn't make sense.
here's when I was I'm gonna go ahead and throw this. Wait, let me take the share off. Um, uh, this is that's another thing. It's more of a Louisiana cryptid, a swamp cryptid down there, as far as the Rougarou goes. But people believe that it's humans that transform into this wolf-like being. Um, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think dogmen are just flat out dogmen? And, I brought up the skinwalkers earlier, or do you
Mhm.
think that they are possibly skinwalkers or, Rougarou? Is it just a flat out dogman?
I think that dogmen are dogmen all the time.
Okay.
Uh, the Rougarou, from what I've heard, I'm hearing that that was also like a spinoff of Loup-garou. And so, from what I know
Yeah.
of that like a
Well,
werewolf. We
it's
had a discussion in the group, like, is werewolf, like, do some people believe that that's like we heard Victor on Jeff's show talking about that werewolves are, I think he said they're born that way. The difference between a werewolf and a dog man was like the werewolves had more, they didn't have the long snout looking more like a dog or a wolf like dogman does. They had more like a human type face almost with, I don't think they had a tail, and their features were a little bit different. But then you
yeah.
have other beliefs as far as the Rougarou and the Loup-garou is concerned, where they have been known to, I guess people have been known to turn into them through witchcraft or voodoo or different rituals and stuff like that.
Yes.
So you have to, I think there's more than one way for that to occur.
Well, yeah. I mean, I lived in Louisiana for 12 years. I went to LSU, but I bleed crimson and white, roll tide for life.
Yeah.
But so I know. all about it. It's like, and I'd be down in southern Louisiana, right, on the bayou and everything.
Right.
And I'm a nature person. I'm like, yeah, let's go for a walk or something. We ain't going out there. Aruba
Exactly.
will get you. And I'm
Right.
like, what? And the backgrounds from Aruba's, it's supposedly a curse that comes down with the bloodline.
Yes.
And then you have so many different beliefs as far as the skinwalkers go. And of course, you've got the famed Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
And for every time, put it this way, with me being Native American, Cherokee and Creek, once we get off this show, for the amount of times that I do say Skinwalker, I'm gonna have to, smudge myself afterwards.
Oh my God.
Because
Yeah, I heard that you weren't
it,
supposed to talk about it. It
yeah,
brings them on.
it's not, yeah, it's bad luck to even mention or say the word. So I do follow my heritage in that. I've never come across one. But hey, better
Do
safe
you
than sorry.
do you
Um,
think they come across people more that they are more attract not all people, but like attracted to people more when you have native blood? Because you hear stories about that a lot where a lot of natives know this information, seeing them
when
on reservation for years and stuff like that.
See, and here's the thing about it. A lot of people, when it comes to the dogmen, a lot of people say that yes, Native Americans did come across them because there's petroglyphs and cave drawings and whatnot that they found where you do have the Sasquatch and then you'll have like a dog man figure,
Yes.
but we don't know if they were referring to a dog man or a skinwalker. And it started off with everybody pretty much thinking that they were out in the West,
Yeah.
Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, all that, that area.
Right.
And there's so many different stories as far as how it was, because it's, the Apaho supposedly cursed the Navajo with Skinwalker Ranch when they were taking over because of the hunting area,
Oh yeah.
and they put them as some a Skinwalker would be there or come and make their
Oh
life
yeah.
miserable, which it did. And then supposedly there's also a process that if a person actually wishes to become a skinwalker, and it's gruesome, it's nasty, it's you'd have to kill a loved one, someone very close to you.
Yes.
You would have to drink their blood and actually eat of their flesh while their heart is still pumping. And then
Oh
there's
wow.
so much to it. And it's the thing has changed a lot. Of some of the actual legends and how they've been handed down, they've changed a lot. And
Right.
sometimes Skinwalker Ranch is off limits. You can't just go in there without
I
permission
heard.
and whatnot. But there's still people that hunt them. They've got they actually have a specific task force on the help me out here, the reservation police,
Yeah.
for cryptid encounters or paranormal.
Really?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
That was started by a gentleman. I want to say it was back in the 90s when he started it, because they did have so many phone calls of people encountering, and these are documented on
really?
police records as far as people coming across the skinwalkers. But
That's
go ahead.
well, that's interesting when you hear stuff like that because even though it's not officially documented, like as far as like the government and stuff like that is concerned, when you have cases like this, it is written up and documented. It's just stuff that it never sees the light of day as far as the public is concerned.
Well,
It's confirmation.
well, you also have the people that are afraid to come forward, because
Right.
just like with the Bigfoot world. If you look at a sightings map and it shows you certain areas,
Mm-hmm.
um, that they've actually had people call in, and it's been either documented through BFRO, some other kind of organization, or official police, a law enforcement claim and report.
Right.
But if you had the people that weren't afraid to come forward, that weren't
Right.
afraid of being laughed at and mocked, um, I can guarantee you that map would be like, what it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like right now for COVID.
Oh,
It would be nationwide all over the place.
oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, because
what
I get ridiculed, and even myself, my own family, or just that's not just something that you talk to people about because they look at you crazy when you tell them about it. And it's more disheartening when it's your own friends and family that don't believe you because it's like, okay, well, you know my credibility. You should know me well enough to know that I'm of sound mind and body. I know what I've seen. And so it
exactly?
kind of makes me mad when people just want to say, well, you saw a dog or you saw a wolf, or when they want to tell people that they've seen a bear when people know what their animals are. You know what you're seeing. So
Yeah,
I understand too,
yeah,
all too well.
yeah, and it's I mean, like the anatomy of things, and I'm an experienced tracker, and I follow animals, of course, because I've hunted. I've been a long time hunter and tracker, and it's just you know I kind of laughed at Expedition Bigfoot when they said, "Oh, somebody brought this paw."
Yeah.
To me, it's got so much. It's dried up. It's got so much deterioration to it. It
Yeah.
honestly looks like a wolf paw or
Right.
possibly a bear paw because I can't tell the difference. And it's just you're looking at the top with the bone structure and then these claws.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not a cryptid thing. But when you talk about, you mentioned the morphing. Um, One thing, and I'll ask you this in just a minute, but one thing in the Bigfoot world that we would really love, there's a group of us that we'd really love to take back off of the wormhole belief, the interdimensional belief, and just start from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like just go grassroots on it. Like the fact that it is there. For
Right.
the first thing we got to do is get the proof,
Right.
and actually show that these things are real. Not with a body. I am a no kill person. I don't
Oh,
believe we need a body to prove anything. Um, and like I said, I'm not a real believer in the dog man. I'm
mhm.
open minded to it. We even had a show like one of my first episodes. Have you? I'm sure you've heard about the Beast Between the Lakes up in Kentucky.
Yes.
And if you haven't heard this, I highly recommend you check out on YouTube. It's by Deep Waters and or is it or Dark Waters?
Yes,
Excuse me.
water.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Dark Waters. And he does the siege of Lockett Ranch in
I
Taylor.
heard that.
Have you heard him do it?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
subscribed to his channel. It's really
Yes.
interesting.
I mean, he's a great storyteller, and I mean, he does it. There's a thing where it does say it. It's based on actual events.
Yeah.
Once COVID clears, once we get to another, safe spot or whatever with COVID, and
Oh
Lord
yeah.
knows what the future holds. But I'm as well as I do, as far as we're probably same distance. It's like a 3-hour drive
Yeah.
to get to Taylor, Mississippi. And I'd love to get there and actually get into town hall records to find out if there are deeds for a ranch out there, if there are deaths that were recorded and documented with the police, and if this man actually was arrested because he was blamed. I believe it was the grandfather that was initially blamed and whatnot for
Since I heard that, I'm gonna
the
have to
murder.
pull that. Yeah, that's the oldie but goodie because it's been a minute since I heard that. I'm gonna pull that up again. But did that happen in Taylor, Mississippi? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, that's where the ranch is supposedly from.
Oh,
Um, Now, I'm going to bring up a picture here that you did share with me, and I mean this one really intrigues me, simply because of things that I have heard when it
okay.
comes to your uh, just the reports that you've received, and
Oh
I would
yeah.
love to know where you found this
Okay.
um, this shelter.
That
Where did you discover this as far as like, in prospect
Okay,
to, where your parents' house is, where and your sightings?
so my parents lived in Athens, Alabama, but this is in Huntsville, where I live
Okay.
at, where I
Okay.
lived at before. And have you heard of the Flint River?
Hmm.
Okay, so like right across from my house, like the Flint River, like if I just walked across from my house and walked into the woods across from behind the neighbor's house across the street. They had an older property, and if you go on the back side of their property, there's woods back there,
Hmm.
and run right into the Flint River. The Flint River is actually behind that big green tree to the left back there. You can kind of see it down below, but that. And I know that maybe this isn't doing it justice. And I don't know if I just sent that one picture, but I should have sent you a close
You
up of
sent
that.
me a video of it. I'll see if I can run the video here in just a second.
Yeah, that thing, it was large enough. Like I'm 5'2", and that basically, like me standing next to it, it was probably, it was about 6 feet. I mean, not 6 feet, about 6, 7, 8 inches taller than I was. So
Hmm.
that thing, and it was flat on the inside. There's like a lot of grass that's kind of sticking up kind of high
Now,
inside, but
how tall are you?
5'2".
Okay. Oh, you're little bitty.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah,
short. You're a shorty.
yeah,
So
shorty.
I mean, this thing basically it you
It
could
was
stand
taller
up
than
and
me.
walk in.
Yeah, I mean, and inside of it, like I wanted to get in there and see just how it'd be. Like I'm not gonna lay down, and there's probably ticks and stuff, but I mean, it was big enough inside where at least 4 or 5 people could huddle inside of it. It was like
Wow.
a perfect shelter, and it was flat on the inside. And
Okay.
so somebody was like, "Well, that's just river runoff. Is river runoff?" It just didn't make sense to me. And I know that river, I know that it floods it from time to time, but it just didn't make sense the way it was domed over. Then it's got that opening in the front, and then it was flat on the inside of it. It's like something had bedded down in there.
I will say, um, one of my hot spots, I guess you could say, that I go to frequently. Um, that I've come across small versions of this, like, what you're talking about with runoff, where because there is a very, it's a good sloped ridge and
Right.
with storms and whatnot, and it does pile up, but it's kind of intriguing with
Mm-hmm.
the arch that, you actually see right here, because it does look like that. And there's also fresh greenery along with that. Now, I will say
Yes.
what gets me about this photo the most is this is, I mean, have you ever encountered Sasquatch? Have you seen Bigfoot?
Not that I'm aware of. I
Okay.
believe they exist. And now since I know that Bigfoot exists and I know that Dogmen exists, like I believe there's so many other things out there too. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been lied to about so much. These are things that are supposed to be like, I guess what you would say, fairy tale or mythical creatures,
Hmm.
mythological creatures. So to me, like, and I don't know if you're a Christian or not, but like if you look
I
at it
am.
from the Christian aspect, a lot of people don't realize it's the satyr is actually brought up in the book of Isaiah. And like, today that's what we would call a goat man. That's a
Hmm.
half goat. And there's a lot of different things. Dragons are mentioned in the Bible. I mean, I'm not trying to like, shoot it to people like who are not Christian. I'm
No, no, I
just saying
understand.
Greek mythology, even if you want to go there, or Egyptian, Anubis. So these creatures, I just feel like they've been around for thousands of years. They're ancient.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is that they've remained or how they've been able to remain.
Well, the reason I
I
asked
almost
you
feel
like about the Sasquatch, not, I'm sorry, go ahead. I wasn't trying to cut you off. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying I just wonder what it is, how are they been able to like hide themselves so well for so many years. Like, it
Because
just kind
they're
of makes me
smarter
wonder.
than us.
Yeah. I don't
And
know. It's almost like they're following some rule that they have amongst themselves.
well, if
I
you
don't
look at it, humans, we are the most destructive species on this planet.
know.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we, you know, we tear down the trees, we tear down their homes to
Yes.
build things, even though we have dilapidated buildings, that people could just tear down and rebuild a business there, or, like all, really bad areas of homes that just, really do need to be considered, condemned for, they're about to fall apart. And
Right.
clear those out, build a new, neighborhood there. But no, we got to go destroy forest. We got to
That's
go
true.
strip mine and, make the rich people happy, build a golf course, build, high end things. But the reason I did ask about Bigfoot is because structures like this are more common with, or commonly known and
Yes.
reported as like a Bigfoot shelter. And from what I have heard, when it comes to research and what people have come across, in Dogman territories, particularly like in Kentucky, the land between the lakes,
Yes.
is that they have in-ground nests, and they, instead of building a shelter like that, it's more of like a dugout. They tend to do like wolves, like they dig out kind of a den, and it's
Oh,
an
wow.
in-ground nest. And that's why this kind of intrigued me, because your experience in it, we've one thing that I've noticed talking to different people is that you have different kinds of activity from Sasquatch in different areas. And, not all Sasquatch do things the same way. They're a lot, like humans. That is, totally different. So, and this is really the first time that I've seen someone present a shelter, an above ground shelter, associating it with a Dogman and not being in a Squatch territory, since you don't come across that.
I think that they're both back there plenty of times. I mean, I've shown some of these pictures to other people, and they've been like, "Well, you got Bigfoot and Dogman in some of these pictures." And one of my guests that I had on the show, probably about 3 or 4 episodes back, Scott Pace, he had an encounter on his encounter where he was in his tree stand where a Dogman and Bigfoot were together, and they both approached him.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting.
That's strange, because I mean, from what I've heard, is that they're almost like natural born enemies.
Yes, that.
And like that siege of Lockett Ranch, it goes back to, it starts with the Native American story, and a battle between this, the tribe trying to get rid of the Dogman.
Yes.
And so they go and steal, on fourth attempt, they finally do steal a Sasquatch skull from a grave site, and take it and put it in their territory, and incite a war between Sasquatch and Dogmen.
Yes.
And it wound up, they backfired, because that made Bigfoot mad at them. So they not only had to deal with the Sasquatch, but they had to deal with Bigfoot. And then it trickled on down to history. And then here you have this family that bought the property, and so on and so on. So,
had to pull that up.
it's intriguing to me. And like I said, I'm not saying they don't exist. And it's funny that, here you are, you're what, 45 minutes away from me. And for all, and I've been, right there between us, Decatur, Vinemont, Hartselle, all the, going up there. I've been in several areas, and lots of rural areas going between there. And the only thing that I have ever found is the, Bigfoot signs, it sounds, vocals, bipedal steps that I hear.
Do you find footsteps a lot? I mean, not the footsteps. Do you see the footprints a lot where you live?
I've when I, with me being an experienced tracker, I have found prints, a lot of them partial. There was one that really ticked me off that, happened last month when I was out looking, because, it was on a higher ridge, and I could hear it walking above me. And I started walking down a trail. It got quiet, and I was like, okay, it's quiet up there, so I'm going to go up and see if I can find a path. And when I got up there, and at this time of year, I mean, if you look at the picture behind us, that's actually an X formation that I found up in there. But that area is it's completely covered with leaves. So it's hard, I can track in the leaves and whatnot, but this one footprint, it was almost perfect, but right where the dadgum toes would be, it stepped on a tree root. So, it was like, I was like, that's nothing. I can't cast that because other than how perfect and fresh that actual partial was, it just didn't have the toes. And, I kind of want
to take pictures and video when you're out there.
Do what?
Do you ever take pictures and video when you're out there?
Oh yeah. One thing that I try to do is I will, I'll depending on the weather, I'll wear my baseball hat and I'll turn it backwards, and I have a GoPro and I'll strap it on and film behind me.
Yes.
Doing stuff, and then when I start to hear things, and I also have a digital recorder, so I'll set it down in a certain area. I'll do wood knocks, I'll do whoops, trying to pull them out, seeing if it's hit and miss. Sometimes I get some activity, sometimes I don't. Yes. But it's just it intrigues me. Your story has intrigued me to the point where when I saw your stuff, I was on my show. I've been pretty much every episode. It's been talking to people and interviewing people about Bigfoot.
Right.
And, when I was looking at some of your stuff, I was like, I need to have her on because we haven't, I've made sure that this show was Expedition for Answers for let's go for everything. Cryptids, paranormal, like I said. So
we should get together, Ashley. I feel like once COVID is over with, or even before COVID is over, I'm willing to go out there in the woods with you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'll bring you up. We could meet up. I mean, shoot, we ain't even got to worry about COVID. If we meet, we ride in different vehicles, and we're outside and just walking. And I would definitely love to come up to your area and check out, because I'm that kind of person where I'll go. I'll walk up to that area. I'll go look for those tracks. And if there's something
back there in those woods, you wouldn't mind walking back there in those woods where I seen all that stuff. Like you wouldn't.
I put this. I mean, I've heard stories of people being attacked, by dogmen.
Yes.
Like I said, they have that vicious, mean reputation where they're just like evil.
Yes. But
I never go unarmed. I always have, a sidearm on me, which with a Sasquatch and whatnot, it's not going to do any difference. But like I said, I'm no kill. This is not for protecting me from Sasquatch. It's for other animals, the bears and the big cats and whatnot. So that's, I don't fear a lot, that's probably a downfall for me. Well, it's when it comes to fight or flight, I'm fight. And of course I wouldn't rush up on it. If we were sitting there watching it and we saw it, but if it turned and walked off, I would definitely be, I'd have my pack with me and be ready to cast anything I saw and get some good tracks. Because, there's that's another thing. That's why I was asking you about the tracks, because, you've had people that show them as these huge, kind of like what you would imagine a werewolf putting in. And then you have them as in the skinwalker sense, where people have casted those. They look like normal dog or wolf prints, but instead of the 4 toes and then that 5th pad, they actually have 5 toes and then 2 additional pads. So it's like you got 7 pads versus 5. And
I'm,
that's
yeah.
why, I'm gonna get you in those woods. I'll get yeah. I'm gonna get you like all buttered up.
Look,
Just, yeah, I'm gonna
Ashley,
do
I don't know if you're gonna be scared when you get back there or not, but I know for a fact. I mean, you're gonna catch something because I know in the summertime, like that's a cotton field back there, and then there's plenty of stuff. I've seen stuff back there before, but then there's also going back on that trail. We're gonna find something, but I'm
yeah.
kind of scared. I'm kind of like, oh, Ashley, come on, we got to get out there before it gets dark.
Put it this way, I'm disabled. That's why I'm able to do this stuff. And this my doctor, my neurologist, God, I love that man to death. He's from Cuba, and he's hilarious. He, the last time he went in and he goes, "Are you exercising?" And I said, I honestly, I go out every once in a while to go do a hike and whatnot, because he knows I Bigfoot. He knows that I'm a believer and that I do research. And I mean, he doesn't think,
Right.
my nickname's always been crazy. I think I've even told the story that my goddaughter at 2 years old just automatically started calling me Aunt Crazy. And, her mom was like, "Who are you talking about?" And she goes, "Aunt Ashley." So it's, that's just, I've always had that nickname because I am crazy. I love joking around. I love doing crazy stuff. And, I will play pranks on people, but I would never hoax.
No, yeah.
But yeah, since I'm disabled, I'm a little out of shape, and my doctor's orders are to actually get out. He says, "Go out, do your big hairy man thingy," and he said, "Just don't overdo it." He says, "Make sure you don't go alone. Don't do." He gives me that stuff, but that's his orders. As far as my exercise goes, is go find the big hairy man. Go look for your big hairy man.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I mean, but what the whole point of me going through that long little whatever dissertation I just did is basically saying, look, you'd outrun me, so I'd be the dog man lunch.
Look,
I'm out of shape. I can't run as fast as I used to. So as long as you can run faster than me, you're good to go.
Last year, me and my nephew were getting ready to go back there. I was trying to brave it to go back there in the field just one more time.
Yeah. David wants to know what you said about the Bible again. What was your referencing?
David, if you get a chance, Google this because I can't remember right off the top of my head. But in the book of Isaiah, it actually mentioned the Satyr, Satyr. But you're gonna need to look in the King James Version Bible, or when you Google it, put up. Yeah, because other versions have changed the words, so to get the original, to get the King James Version, but this King James Version mentions the Satyr, which for them to mention that, to me, that just means that these were things that they were seeing at that time. Why they said, because when we were talking about a goat, they would just say goat or lamb. They didn't call it something else that it wasn't. And like I said, there's so many different things. People believe in reptilians, and I'm open to that too. I have never seen that. I've never seen a goat man. But another thing I was saying too, David, was that, with Satyr, you think about Percy Jackson and the Olympians. You had that guy.
Yeah, I love it. I hate that they didn't finish the series.
I know, I loved it. Well, he was half man, half goat. And that's today, I guess today, I think goat man is something somewhat different, because I believe that's a goat's head and face with a man's body. Something like that. But
they've been, the reports of those have actually been, I guess you could say, associated with portals to hell, any demonic activity. So, like that may be why it's in the Bible, because the book of Isaiah. I love the book of Isaiah. My favorite verse is Isaiah 53:5. By his stripes we are healed, and it's and people have asked me. A lot of people believe that Bigfoot is Nephilim. I don't. Nephilim were wiped from this earth by the flood. If like I said, you say King James version, that is what that's what I follow. That is my go-to
Well,
Bible.
if you remember where it was saying the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also after that, that you got to also think about the fact that when David and Goliath came, Goliath was a giant that came back, and that was after the flood.
We did, but see, that's just a giant. I mean, God never referred to him, or the Bible never referred to him as a Nephilim. It was saying that, yes, there were giants in that time. And, when people ask me, how can you be a Christian and say that this exists? I'm like, okay, well, look at it like this. And David, they didn't really give his height. It's not like they're sitting there talking about David, 6'1", 250. They don't announce it like an MMA fight, It's not David in this corner, weighing in at, 250 pounds and Goliath at 500. So,
what a lot of people don't realize is that Goliath had 4 or 5 other brothers that David ended up going back to kill after the fact, and they were even taller than David was. They were giants too.
Yeah. And
but a lot of this stuff has gotten left out of different books. The book of Enoch actually brings up these different hairy creatures and stuff like that we're talking about today, like, which I guess you could look at it like chimeras. Some people say that they're natural animals, and I've even heard some theories where we got a member that said that Bigfoot was he said it was nothing more than a undocumented mountain ape. And I told him, I don't agree with that. But
I believe they're very intelligent. They are more close to the human race. They're just a different species. And apes are very intelligent. But these things, they're, if they're smart enough to elude us the way they do, build their structures, and, the things that we witnessed, and like I said, as far as, I'll stop with the Bible after this, but, when people ask me, how can you say that something like this existed? In the Bible, God did not give you an entire list of what he created after Adam and Eve.
Exactly.
And then it turned into basically the kind of thing where, okay, you got Goliath, you got the giants documented, and then you have Esau, who was born covered in red hair like a sackcloth. And so, and I'm not saying that that's a mixture or, that's giants and whatnot, but there's so much that we have to learn, even just about our own species versus other species. And,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Michael posted or asked this question. You mentioned morphing earlier. The sightings always in the same area, same time of season? And the reason I got another question confused with that when I started talking about the morphing, because there's a lot of them coming in and I'm trying to keep up with them. But are your sightings at the same time of year?
Well, no, they're all at different times of the year now. Majority of the pictures that I have taken that I got really good stuff was usually either in the summer or the fall.
Okay.
But you can see, I don't know why, maybe because the sunlight's different in the summertime, but even though they're trying to hide, if they're coming up close enough and you catch them just right, like if you see them staring, you know what to look for in the trees, you can see them a lot better. In the fall, I've got some pictures of them in the fall too, but it's just, it's almost like, and I don't know if this is true or not, I kind of halfway wonder, does their coat change for the different seasons? Does their coat change for them to blend in? Because I don't see the dark black ones like that in the fall and in the winter. It's more grayish and brown that they blend in so well. But
that's the same thing we say about Sasquatch. They are masters of camouflage. I don't know if their coats change with the season, but they know how to blend in. And not only that, but they're quick. People use the wormhole saying, that's how they disappear. But I just think those things are so daggum quick and so damn elegant and smooth in the way they move.
Right.
It goes back to the old, the smaller things in the forest make the most and biggest, loudest noise, and the bigger things can sneak right up on you. And that's how bears get you. That's how cougars get you.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. But with my encounter with that one on the ridge, it was up on the ridge above me. I go up on the ridge to investigate. Next thing I know, without hearing anything, it's walking below me on the ridge, and
Oh
then
wow.
it's gone. I did not hear it or anything, but I mean, there's perfect egress points where it can haul ass out of any situation. So, they're masters of camouflage. Where'd it go? This was the one that I got a little kind of confused with when I put that one up there. Do you think that they use portals
I think so. I've heard a few guests.
as far as point to the other?
I've heard a few of my guests talk about that, and I feel like they do. I feel like some of them do. I feel like also some of them are flesh and blood, and every now and then I kind of wonder. Now, a guest I was talking to not too long ago behind the scenes, he was telling me that he feels like that they are they're part Nephilim. They have part fallen angel blood, so they have some of those different powers and abilities. Now, I can't say that for sure. I mean, everybody's like coming up with their own theories and kind of speculating, so it's a bunch of different possibilities. But as far as portals, I can say that I feel like that's a definite possibility, because sometimes you've heard cases where people talk about them just coming out of nowhere, or they are fleeing and then they disappear into nothingness. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of an example. Also, what I was saying a few minutes ago about morphing. What if they're just coming into our dimension?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
another dimension.
what do you about what I was saying earlier? When we take that stuff and put it on the back burner, the paranormal, the supernatural aspect to them, put it on the back burner and just get back to the basics of learning them, as far as they're just the fact that they exist. Get that proven first. And then once that's done, let's roll into, okay, are they supernatural? Do they have these paranormal abilities that, of morphing, going to another dimension, and whatnot? I mean, what do you think about going back to the brass tacks of
I see what you're
the
saying.
investigations,
I see what you're saying, because it's like, well, we can't. You're almost like, well, we haven't even proven it yet, and so many people talk about all these other aspects to Bigfoot and Dogman, but then it's. I think it wouldn't be so difficult or hard for that to happen if it wasn't for so many people talking about, like, for instance, like Bigfoot would mind speak, or they spoke to
Yes.
me telepathically, or I felt like it said this to me, or I felt like I wanted to pass out, or I was nauseous, or infrasound. That's brought up so much that it's almost like you can't really separate the two, because it's brought up so many times.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why it's harder to separate the two. But yeah, I do think that on a basic level, then yeah, it would be great to start it off just to the basics, learning, I guess, them as a species, what they are, how they operate. I do feel like that the government has these creatures also in facilities, underground or behind closed doors, that they don't want us to know about them.
What do
They
you
know
think
about
about the theory that they are government made? That there are a government experiment that has been released.
I feel like that there are some that are government made. I believe that they have taken natural ones that are out there, and I believe that they have probably some. I think that they probably cloned some of them. I also feel like they've probably taken DNA from some of them and maybe spliced it with other animals, or even Sasquatch. Now, I've heard people say, and I know there's different theories on this too, but I've heard people say that Dogman and Sasquatch can procreate and create, and they call it the Gugwe or Genosqua, and I don't know how true that is.
There was somebody actually, I guess when we first, let me take this question off and I will go back to it. There was somebody, let me get up to it. It was like when we first started, I didn't want to like go off track from what we were talking about. Let me find it. Yep. Forget it. I don't need to post it. Go ahead with the Dugwee. Yeah, because I mean, they asked, what about the Dugwee? So
Now,
go ahead and do your thoughts on that. Sorry.
To me, I don't know what to make of that. Like I've heard several people say that it can happen, and I've heard people say, I've heard a couple of researchers say that Dogmen and Sasquatch can procreate and create the Gugwe or some other species, but then I've heard a few that say no, they don't believe it's possible.
Yeah.
But who's actually been around to actually watch it take place? So, I don't know too much about him now. I know Ryan Tremblay. He's a member of the group, and he's also over his own page and group, A Whisper to a Scream. He's also an admin in the group. Ryan knows a lot about those. Hopefully, he'll be listening to this and post down after this live is over with.
Yeah, I've shared it to several different groups, and look, if you see me looking to the side, I'm not ignoring you.
Yes.
When it comes to being on StreamYard, it says like Facebook user, and so I'm having to actually look over at Facebook to see who's asking this question. So, forgive me for that. Just keep rolling with what you're saying. I just don't want you to think I'm being rude.
No, I don't. No, I don't know anything about. I don't know too much about the Gugwe, but I just know that that's what I've heard a few times. People saying that is an offshoot of the two. And Ryan Tremblay, I hope you're listening to this. If you are, if you can they post comments after this live?
Yeah, because I mean it stays up and people can watch it later, and it's also on YouTube. People want to, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug myself here. YouTube channel by the exact same name, Central Alabama Bigfoot Research Organization. Subscribe to that. And I mean, you could watch it and you could even comment on there. And so, if they're not a member of the group, and I do share it to different groups, I think I want to make sure I think I did share it to your group before we got started and before you came on. So, if he doesn't see it now, you can say, hey, go back and check this out and throw a comment on there. Because I go back on them because I critique myself. I critique any of my evidence. I critique what I do in the field. I critique what I do here. Just because I want to make sure that I'm being fair. Like I said, I have not had any experiences, and I've been out in the woods all over the place. So I'm not technically a Dogman believer, but I do have that open mind. And when I brought you on, I talked to a couple of people about it, and they were like, oh, I was like, no, I'm not bringing her on to embarrass her or to try and, really, make something, just, I would never do that. I don't bring people on this show to mock them. I want to hear their experiences.
So are there
analyze them, just, really get the feel for it. And I appreciate you coming on. And, I mean, you've got me really intrigued, and we are definitely going to have to get together. Let me see. There was also this one I wanted to put up. As far as, have you heard their howls or their communications?
I've heard on one occasion, only one time, and I talked to Ricardo Sanchez about it, and it was just interesting. But I didn't talk. This was years ago, but I was out, and this is another time I was at my parents' house, and it was almost 6:00 in the evening. It was getting dark, and it was the fall, and I was outside like always, recording, taking pictures and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like in that field, I heard like this It was like a hyena chatter. It was
Hmm.
really weird. And I've heard a few people say that dogmen make that noise. And I was talking to Ricardo one day, and you know, he said, dogmen have been known. He said, every now and then, if you hear this hyena chatter, and I was like, what? I said, oh my God, I never knew until he said that that's what that was. But I knew it was weird because it was like, what kind of animal is that? And I said, I'm just to go back in the house now. And I
Yeah.
went,
Screw that.
right. We ain't got no hyenas.
Hell no.
Exactly. Hell no. I went in that house with the quickness. I didn't even finish my cigarette that day.
Light that thing up, be like,
Right.
And yeah, I hate to waste those things because boy,
Exactly.
they're expensive. I quit smoking.
Right.
I mean, now you see me vaping, but that's an occasional thing because just keeps me from smoking. I know it's not any healthier, but
Right. What
um,
he said, would they have ability to mimic sounds like a Sasquatch
yeah.
does? Sasquatch has different sounds. I mean, you hear the samurai chatter, the whooping.
Mhm.
Then you got this like banshee type scream. I mean, it's like so many different sounds. And I've heard people just basically talk about that. The chatter I just talked about, I've heard people say about dogman having this loud rumbling growl that reverberates in your chest, kind of like the same with Bigfoot.
Mhm.
Um, and I've even heard a few people say that they've heard them bark. So
Mhm.
it's
You talking about the Dogman or Sasquatch?
dogman.
Okay.
So I believe that they have their own different sounds. I mean, but I think that some of the sounds, maybe probably that growling. I've also heard Sasquatch has that deep guttural growl also.
Yeah.
So I think that's a correlation there. But I think that some Sasquatch can mimic human voices as well.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, trust me. I actually experienced one doing that. Um, we were on a 5 day expedition, or well, investigation here in Alabama on a large patch of acres. I mean, where you don't have the traffic, noise traffic of
yes.
other people. There's no possibility. I mean, there's one person out there that did kind of mess with us because of it was family property, and
Hmm.
I sent his mama as soon as he started messing with us when we were doing calls. I sent his mama a text. I said, "Tell him to whoop one more time, and I'm coming down there whooping his butt."
Right.
So, he knocked it off. But yeah, we had one where we were. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's December, 20 degrees outside. We're frozen.
Right.
We were, activity had calmed down, and we had split off into groups. And the guy that I happened to be with, he'd come out from California, and I've got the vocal of it. It's hard to hear because the mic that we got it off of was 100 yards away from us, and you
Right.
hear him yell out "roll call," and he's, for all the group, everybody that had split off to kind of answer and come in. And
Right.
20 feet away from us, right in the wood line, we hear this, yeah. And it sounded just like a guy that was with us on the expedition. And funny enough, he wound up being the skeptic on the
Really?
investigation. And we're like, okay, that's where he is. Now we need to find everybody else. And then we found, one of the girls comes walking up. We're like, okay, there she is. And we're like, you left so and so down the road by himself? She's like, no, him and Jason are down there. We're like, no, Jason's right there in the trees.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
what he's doing, but he just answered us when he roll call. And she's like, no, he's down there. And I about
Oh my
choked
God.
Ed, because he had the flare around his neck. And I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, there is two
Right.
people down there, And
Wow.
so we have, and I've heard of mimic coyotes. Um, I've actually heard them. Or we do have a vocal with another group, so it belongs. That vocalization, the recording of it belongs to that group. Where I've spoken about it before. She has, or she had a German Shepherd that was outside going crazy, barking, and you
Right.
hear that, like it sounded like a Clydesdale just galloping around. So it was like the Squatch was on all fours, and then it gets close because she puts her digital recorder in a windowsill and leaves it there at night. And you hear this thing actually go, a dog, a dog, a dog. And you're just going, when you hear this, it blows your mind. So,
Right.
you have you thought about getting a digital recorder to put out there and see what could possibly be caught as far as, there's sounds at night?
Well, if my parents, they no longer live in that house. They moved last year. Um, but if they still lived there now, yeah, I would have put one back there because there was a lot of activity.
I mean, you could still go out there and, find like a kind of a hidden spot and,
I've actually,
strap it to a tree or something.
so I wouldn't feel awkward. I actually went back and talked to some of the neighbors out there so that I wouldn't feel weird if I just wanted to pull up and go back there. Like, okay, well, from time to time, can I just come up here and visit? Because I still like to go. But I mean, I was never going back in the woods. I've gone back there before, but like I know at some point I wouldn't mind going back there again to take more pictures and to look at stuff because I know for a fact that they're back there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of tree area back there, and there's not a lot of nobody's hunting back there either. So I think that they're perfectly safe. There's no telling what's back there. I mean, because it's a cotton field, and it's like it's plenty of room to roam.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Why I never go out without a sidearm. I mean, I'll never carry a rifle, simply because that is a big no-no as far as when Sasquatch goes. That you don't want them to see you with that. And I mean, I'll take my scope off of my rifle, and use it to kind of look along with binoculars.
Yes.
And whatnot. So you've never had any no Sasquatch. It's strictly been Dogman.
It's strictly been Dogman. Now I do have a picture that I think is a Sasquatch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't share it that often because the majority of the time, like I know exactly what's there. I can see everything on the picture.
Yeah.
I can see the palm of its hand and everything, but I don't usually share this picture with people because majority of people don't. Majority of the people that I try to show it to don't really understand or see what's in the picture. Now, I will send you the picture after we get off of this.
Yeah, I'll keep it completely confidential.
There's two things going on with this picture. Now, we talked earlier about Bigfoot and Dogman, and on this particular picture, and I know it sounds crazy because sometimes when I hear people say, well, they seen two of them at the same time, I'm like, really? Did you really see both of them? Because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't.
Right.
Like I said, they're supposedly enemies.
Right, and so that's part of the reason. Another reason why I don't like to show this picture either, because it's like on that picture, there's the Sasquatch that's down lower. Either I don't know if it's on the ground or if it's in the trees. My ex-husband took a picture of this creature, but he wasn't trying to take a picture. He wanted me to see his surroundings from his tree stand. Not realizing when he showed me this picture, I'm like, oh my God, like you're being watched. It was a Sasquatch like watching him while he was taking that picture. Like it actually has a what do you call it? It's a branch that's bent around the backside of this tree, and the Sasquatch has its hand like this over that branch. You can see fingers down, and you can see this part of its palm, and it's holding the branch like that, and it's got it. There's no way you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, higher up in the tree on this same picture, there's a Dogman, and I'm gonna say it's a juvenile one because it's small, but it's looking back over its shoulder and it's kind of leaning out and looking back. I don't share that one that often. I mean, I'm not, because it's just people can't see everything, and it's not one of those blob squatch pictures either. It's a good one, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I understand that, and here I have this group, and I go out and I do my swatching, and I do take pictures, but I don't share. Until I get that, I guess you could say Patterson Gimlin kind of clarity, I
Oh
won't
yeah.
share. I've caught a few pictures where you can actually see, 3 or 4 Sasquatch together, and usually, it's when you do catch these, there is one at least 2 layers of foliage between you and them.
Yeah.
Um, and then, as far as tracks and whatnot, I've got one cast from a long time ago. Um, there's so many people that throw casts out there and show the pictures of them. It's like old news.
Oh yeah.
So, um, like I said, I don't share a lot of my evidence. Um, I will talk about certain experiences, others I won't,
Oh yeah.
because it's just so unreal. And put it this way: I'll throw an example out there, and this one was just it was. I mean, it kind of tripped me out, and it just happened last month. Um, I was on the tribal lands, and I did not have any experiences. I mean, there were a couple times when I got that hair raising, I'm being watched feeling, but no responses to my wood knocks, nothing to the whoops. I didn't hear anything. So basically, it was just a nice little day for a hike.
Mhm.
But I did follow a trail. I did pick up on a trail that was relatively fresh.
Right.
I followed it, and I mean, it took me hours because this thing went, from the creek, the source of water, or part of the source of water, because there's a waterfall further down, but you can see, like, they've actually got little hunting holes, or I guess you could say, um, go lay on your bed, buddy. That's my chupacabra. Um, his name is literally Chupa. He's my little
That's cute.
Mexican monster. Um, and he likes to pop on every once in a while and say hi to everybody.
Yes,
But
my baby's gonna a little bit.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, we found like little dugout holes, and it's not washout because you can't, there's no other, like, you can't see where the water would flow in, so it's not
Yeah.
like an actual, it looks like it was actually dug out, and there's always like a smaller one next to it, kind of like maybe an adult teaching a juvenile, and it's overlooking the creek. And
Yeah.
just in case anything happens, it can shoot straight up the hill towards where the X that is behind us in the picture.
Exactly.
They've got a perfect egress point to get out and go.
Oh yeah.
And I found actually 2 of these, and it's funny because where the small one is, it's almost like the juvenile plays, because you find where they sit there and they play with sticks, and they're sitting there. There's just little,
Yeah.
sticks, sticking to other ones. Long story short, I had a smaller vape, and I had my digital recorder, and I wasn't thinking that day. I mean, it was a nice day. I wound up sweating like you wouldn't believe, and I put up pictures of it, and it's like one of those ones where I said, I still got to get up this hill, and my right leg just went numb
Right.
because my sciatic nerve was killing me that day. But I had, instead of putting them in the pockets, because I wear like survival kind of pockets or pants and whatnot, so that it's just smart,
Yeah.
smart hiking kind of gear.
Yeah. So you
Um,
get stuff out of it.
and I can't believe I'm actually talking about the story, because I actually said I probably would never share it with anybody. I shared it with one person. Um, and I had like a flannel shirt over my t-shirt, and as I was walking, and instead of putting it in my zipper pocket, once I picked it up and I was finished with it, I put it in the pocket of my flannel shirt. And then, "Oh, okay, you want to be back on the show? Yes, you are a ham. You have to have the limelight." So I at one point, I was sweating so bad and just getting so hot, I had to take a break, and I sat down on this bridge, and I had thrown the flannel shirt over the a rail, and I put my rucksack down, and I'm sitting there resting, And when I got up and I was starting to go through everything, my legs going numb, and I threw, put my pack on, and I just kind of hung the flannel shirt, over the straps, and was
Yeah.
walking. I didn't even think about, I was like, I should button those pockets, but I just didn't. And so I made the rounds around, and I went to the middle trail, and went back to a picnic table, which, I basically made the full circle, and sat there and I rested and I did my smudging. Anytime I'm on the tribal grounds, as I enter, I smudge myself with sage, and as I leave, I smudge myself again. Just basically ritualistic honor and heritage and whatnot. And I got my stuff together to leave, and I got back up to the high trail, and I had not stepped foot on this particular spot other than when I entered.
Oh, wow.
And I get up there and I'm walking, and I got my walking stick, and I look down, and there's my digital recorder.
Oh, that's crazy.
I lost my vape that day. It never, I didn't find it. And I had lost that digital recorder because I know I put it in that pocket. And then it's sitting in a spot that I had not touched or walked by for 4 hours. And, because it was on the upper trail, right where you enter the trails before I got to my truck. And that just, it threw me for a loop because I didn't hear anything that day. Did not, other than following that trail. That was the only thing. And when I find, at the end of the trail, it was like rocks going straight up that to me, I'd have to sit there and climb and probably throw my body over. But I guess to a Sasquatch, it would be like regular stairs. And, I thought it shocked me. I was like, oh my gosh, I dropped that. And how did it get right back here when I haven't been to this spot in 4 hours? So it freaked me out. And I guess to me, that means that the ones in that area, they accept me. I've been accepted. And I'm honored by that because, it's not like I spent a whole lot of money on that digital recorder.
Right.
But I've got some good recordings on it. And then you turn around and you go, hey, I don't have to spend money on a new one. And I made some friends.
Right. That's right. Well, actually, do you want to, would you mind also being a guest on my show as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you want. I'm down to talk about anything, even though I haven't had those, Dogman experiences. And
we're going to have some Bigfoot guests on there too. Our last guest last week, Old Bear, he was a Bigfoot researcher.
I love Old Bear. He's such a sweetheart. I really do. Isn't he the one that his daughter has cancer?
I'm not sure. I know he's Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. I'm not sure if he does.
I'm talking to someone that where they were, checking to make sure that a daughter or granddaughter was cancer free. And I put in, I don't mean butting in on your comments, but you got my prayers. I'll have to go back and look at that. But just reading comments in your group, those guys, he's a very sweet guy. Seems like a real sweet guy. And
I'm glad you have to be on tonight. I'm not trying to rush off. I guess it's bad inside. I'm getting blown up right now.
We have gone pretty much 21 minutes past. I try to keep it between an hour and a half. We're approaching 2 hours. So I appreciate
I give it like 2 hours.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing, your experiences. My mind is open, and yes, me and you definitely, with us being within 45 minutes of each other. Yeah, you got to bring me up and get me on a Dogman, and I'll bring you down, and we'll get on some Sasquatch.
I will. I'm gonna get in touch. I'm gonna message you after this show is over, but we're gonna exchange information because I'm coming out there for real.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You coming here too, though. I'm excited about this.
Yeah. We're gonna make that happen. That's gonna be a definite. So once again, I appreciate you. Everybody, she goes by B Moss, but this is Bettina Moss. And like I said, check out her group, Cryptonormal Encounters with B Moss. A lot of interesting conversations happen on that page.
Well,
Do what?
I try to keep it interesting on there. I mean, but the guests, the people, the members, they put so much good stuff on there. I mean, if it wasn't for the members, I mean, they really help out a lot, and it's just amazing having such great members to help out with that.
Exactly. I'm at, I think, 415 members now, and I am so humbled that many people really, they find the interest and they share that interest and they enjoy what I guess me and other members do put out there, because it's not just my input. It's everybody coming together. And I say this all the time. I created the group and founded the organization to find truth, find the answers, but also so that people that are, afraid to come forward, I want them to have that safe space. It's a safe space. I want them to be able to come forward. Oh, we lost her. Anyway, still, I wanted y'all to be able to come forward and share stories. Yeah, feel free to. I really appreciate Bettina coming on tonight, and I appreciate everybody that was listening. And y'all are great. Y'all are awesome. I've got some. My spirits are lifted from y'all. Like I was saying in the beginning, thank you for your. There she is. She came back.
Yeah,
we lost you. We lost you for a minute, girl. I was like, oh, yeah. Well, damn, if you want to stop that quick, then all right.
I got kind of scared now because I'm like wondering. I'm hoping it doesn't get. I mean, I know they're talking about how bad it got in Texas, and I'm hoping it doesn't. It's been snowing so hard. Like I got home from work, and I know probably around 5 o'clock I looked outside, and it was already like several inches of snow just when I got. I mean, I hadn't been home that long. I got here like 4 something, and after 5, it was already like. I guess pouring down with snow. Is still snowing out there now.
Yeah.
They were talking about us having power outages.
I know we're getting, ours started out with some sleet and freezing rain. And that's when, I let my wolves out today so they could have their sunshine and, their time outside and whatnot. And yeah, they're built for cold weather like this. But like I said, if mama's cold, the babies are cold, they're coming inside.
Exactly.
And I stepped outside to let the little ones go out, and then it started raining. I was like, y'all get in, and I had to throw on my mud boots and run out to the wolves pen and, and everything. And come on, we're going inside, babies, inside. But again, I really appreciate you coming on. Very interesting to talk to you.
We'll have to do this again.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, if you and put this out there, talk to a couple of your, group members or friends that have also experienced Dogmen, and we could put a panel together and listen to everybody, because like I said, there's no judgment on this show.
Well, actually, Josh Turner is also in the group, and Josh Turner has documented several different Dogman encounters and has narrated and told a bunch of the encounters told to him, and I think he had his own too, but he shared them on Big Condom Show. So he's also a member of the group, and he has his own show, Paranormal Roundtable on YouTube, and he has his own group on Facebook too. So.
I've seen you talking about that on in your group.
Yeah.
So that would be great. We'll have to
we did a collaboration together.
Yeah, we'll have to coordinate and get everybody together. I mean, this format is easy to get to whenever I run this thing. I mean, all you have to do is make sure that you're on a Google Chrome browser. And you can jump in the room, whether it's on your phone, whether it's, computer, very easy to get to. And I would love to have a panel on this because my mind is open. I want to investigate everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to a few people after this show is over with, see what they want to do. I think this will be great. I'm excited. I'm gonna be working on that tonight, Ashley, and hopefully be able to give you some ideas tomorrow what we're gonna do with that.
Yeah, that works because next week I believe I'm talking to Mr. Larry Batson. He's awesome. I mean, he does some awesome shows as it is, and he does this what he calls drawing Bigfoot, and he'll talk to people, and he sits there and listens to their description, and he will draw out what they've seen. And
Yes.
so I'm going to get him. I already spoke to him, and he's given me the yes. He wants to come on, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and schedule him for next week, and then hey, the week afterwards, we can blow it out of the water and just have a huge, I mean, whenever
Yeah.
you're going to do your shows, mine's always Wednesdays, at 8, our time. Alabama time. It's not Central time. It's Alabama time, dadgum. Roll Tide. It's Crimson time.
I know.
It's
Well,
championship time. So, yeah.
yes.
Once again, I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank
You really kind of gave me some, enlightenment, I guess you could say, in different ways to think about it. So,
well, we're gonna make you a believer. We're gonna make you a believer because
bring me up there because I mean, like I said, I'll be the you could stay back if you want to. I'll run in the woods and I'll look for those tracks and I'll cast them, and then we'll kick back and
right.
You can smoke a cigarette, and I may take a couple puffs off my vape, and we'll wait for it to dry, and then I'll go back in and get it.
You got to be careful. Oh, that's another story. I'm going to have to tell you that for another time. I wish I thought about that earlier. I guess let me just throw this out there before we say goodnight. But they say that I've been told a couple of times, 2 or 3 times now, that tobacco actually draws dogmen in.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard the same thing with Sasquatch because it annoys them. So it it gets their curiosity. They do not like cigarette smoke.
Okay, so I will go into that more when we talk.
Regular tobacco. If it's not too if it doesn't have a whole lot of chemicals and whatnot, I've heard people gift it, and Sasquatch likes tobacco. So, we'll have to check with, see how Dogman, other than cigarettes, maybe get him a pack of Big Red or Red Man, and Copenhagen. We'll see how he likes Copenhagen.
Exactly. All right. Well, actually, good night. I'm gonna message you here and just taking on Messenger because I'm gonna but I'm gonna get with you too anyway because I'm gonna get with the group, get with some people, see what they want to do, and then I'm gonna let you know what's up.
Yeah, girl. I mean, we could do it. Like I said, we'll do it on here, and we can do it on there on your show, and get it rolling. Right. Good time. As long hey, don't threaten me with a good time.
I know. All right. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you, girl. Be safe. Stay warm.
I know it's crazy. Bye.
Bye-bye. And thank you all for listening. Appreciate it. And thank you for keeping all the stuff, no rude comments. Y'all are an awesome group. I greatly appreciate it. Have